Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Fireside Chat. My name is Damaris, and I'm a training and education consultant at Enor. For those of you who don't know us, Enor is a leading global Google Cloud and Google Marketing platform partner. Some of our specialties include data engineering, data science, data visualization, and marketing analytics. The title of today's chat is Digital Media Convergence Business Impact Now with Patrick Sock, a senior consultant at Enor. We'll learn more about Patrick in a moment. First, a word about the webinar itself. If you want to ask questions, please type them into the chat in your YouTube control panel. I'll bring them up as we go along, and we should also have time for questions at the end. This is a friendly and focused conversation, so please ask questions at any time. As I mentioned earlier, our presenter today is Patrick Sock. Patrick has been in digital marketing and analytics for 19 years. He is a digital media veteran who's managed multi-million-dollar ad campaigns. We have a lot to talk about, so we're going to get going. If you're with us today, you're probably a digital marketer or a marketing executive. You're probably trying to use your data to improve your campaigns and create more value for your company. You're also faced with more choices than ever before when it comes to your technology stack. Based on the latest research that I did, there are over 7,000 marketing technology solutions on the market, and the number keeps growing. Today, we're going to focus on a subset of MarTech and talk about advertising technology. Patrick, with so many options and so much change, what's a digital marketer or a CMO to do? How do we leverage the data we have to optimize our advertising? How do we cut through the noise and make sure we stay focused on creating real business value?
Thank you, Damaris. Appreciate that overview and intro to today's topic. We've got a lot to cover. Today, we're going to cover the following topics along with questions that come up along the way. The current ad tech landscape, key factors of advanced digital marketing, data quality management, and the ultimate digital marketing tool. So stick around until the end. Today's ad tech landscape is complex, and that would be an understatement. There are a ton of intermediary platforms and technologies that sit between marketers and publishers. Everything from DSPs, agency trading desks, the agencies themselves, media planning and attribution tools, ad networks, targeted networks, measurement and analytics platforms, ad serving, supply side platforms. All of these tools serve a purpose and are helpful at making your media more effective and more efficient. But the question is, how can marketers be more savvy about getting to the right ad inventory at the right time, with the ultimate goal of you want to get to the right potential customers and existing customers with the right messaging at the right time. Historically, for the last decade or so, we're talking about a largely fragmented ecosystem, characterized really some big players in each class of ad tech platforms with some really powerful tools, but often working in silos. So you have big players kind of across different parts of the space. Everything from your ad serving, search management, display, rich media, tag management, right? On-site analytics, your data warehouse type solutions. In the past 3 to 5 years, we're seeing these tool sets become more convergent and falling under kind of unified umbrellas. So in today's market, we see competitors with these large encompassing brand umbrellas, the Google Marketing Platform, Adobe Cloud Experience, Oracle Marketing Cloud, kind of name at the top of the pile there. But and these players are, causing a convergence of measurement and reporting tools alongside personalization, targeting, and ad serving and DSPs. So you're talking about strongly convergent trends in our space, certainly at the enterprise level.
Patrick, I really like this image because it kind of tells the story of convergence really well. So just looking across the top at ad serving, search, display, and in the past having to go into all of these different platforms, to do the different tasks that a marketer would have to be working on. Here, seeing that Google marketing platform across the board, what does this mean for digital marketers today?
Sure. So it creates some, obviously for big enterprise marketers, it definitely creates some operational opportunities in terms of consolidating vendors, consolidating platforms, but it also creates some nice synergies around that word convergence. Really, the key to that is more and more of your marketing and measurement stack are able to communicate with, each platform is able to communicate with one another, and you're able to leverage, say, your analytics data for better marketing efficiency, better targeting. So there's kind of two things going on there, right? You have obviously big players consolidating the stack that a marketer can use, and then the opportunities that convergence creates for the marketers. And it really kind of comes down to being more effective enabling technologies for advanced digital marketing.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Sounds good.
When you say advanced digital marketing.
So advanced digital marketing, as I see it, it's really a combination of data quality management, integrated tool sets and marketing platforms, and then this less tangible factor, but equally critical, thinking like a digital marketer. So really, advanced digital marketing is all about making better informed decisions about campaign optimization, budget allocation, and user experience to drive business success. And as we'll see, that the integrated tool sets, convergent marketing tools and analytics, that sits right in the middle.
Yeah, I like the fact that the third point here is the human element. Although the tools keep becoming more sophisticated and they're converging and there's more integration opportunity, you still have to have that digital marketer mindset to take advantage of it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great point. We're going to kind of hammer that home as we go through the fireside chat today. We'll definitely spend some time focusing on how crucial that really is to getting the most out of the current marketplace. But let's start with data quality management. Data everywhere, not a drop to drink. Well, so I have a couple of quotations here about data. According to Andrew McAfee, an MIT scientist, the world is one big data problem. And according to John Battelle, internet entrepreneur and journalist, we speak of software eating the world, the Internet of Things, and we massify data by declaring it big. But these concepts remain, for the most part, abstract. It's hard for many of us to grasp the impact of digital technology on the real world of things like rocks, homes, cars, and trees. We lack a metaphor that hits home. So these quotations from smart people say a lot about data, or at least about what people think about data. And maybe the world isn't really one big data problem, but for digital marketers, your little slice of the cosmos is a big data problem. And John Battelle gets a little philosophical, but he's right. big data is just an abstraction if we can't find ways to relate it to our everyday lives and to put it to use in meaningful ways. And for the life of a digital marketer, that means, really bringing reliable, meaningful sets of data to bear on the way we make decisions about how we message, target, and optimize our campaigns.
So how do we make sure we're really doing that, getting to that meaningful data, checking to see if our data sets are meaningful, useful?
Sure. Yeah. Let's dive into a couple of crucial factors of data quality management. One is the tool configurations themselves, which has a big impact on our data collection. So making sure that key integrations are turned on with our advertising platforms, for example, between say Google Analytics 360 and the GMP stack, leveraging auto tagging whenever possible to ensure campaign coverage, using custom variables like custom floodlight variables to collect rich data, metadata about transactions and users, leveraging custom dimensions and metrics to, again, give yourself the best kind of targeting and segmentation options. Making sure you have things like advertising features enabled in GA360 so that you can take advantage of remarketing features and demographic data. Capturing anonymized user ID, passing it through in floodlights or into GA360 so that you can again do some advanced kind of user level analysis and targeting. Things like cross-device tracking, to the extent that it's possible to leverage things like the Google Graph, turning on signals, you get better user-level type resolution cross-device, cross-browser. The other kind of crucial component here is campaign tracking, and we've been for as long as we've been running digital campaigns, we've been hammering on campaign tracking, but it really is crucial to have campaign tracking correct in terms of comprehensiveness and in terms of its accuracy and consistency. So using structured, rich naming conventions across your organization for campaign naming. Is everything that you can track being tracked? Are campaigns being tracked accurately and consistently? So, you want to make sure, and I mean, a benchmark that you could shoot for is 90%. For the for comprehensiveness, 90% for kind of correctness / accuracy, and 90% for consistency. Obviously, if you beat that, that's great. But we want to make sure that the data is there to fuel the tools and the objectives.
Patrick, one of the advantages of being in a consultancy is that we get to work with many clients, different verticals, different types of enterprise brands. Do you see any trends across clients, either positive or negative, but mistakes made or quick wins, anything companies can do in this area of data quality management to get an edge?
Sure. I mean, one trend we see, I'll guess I'll start with the bad news, and we'll go to the good news. One trend we continue to see is just some basic kind of process mistakes, such as using campaign tagging parameters for tracking internal links, which these, it has been a best practice to avoid this, for a number of years. Many organizations continue to do it. It's kind of a legacy practice, but what they end up doing is breaking their kind of chain of attribution of their actual marketing efforts, and they start to then they're starting to get attribution around their internal link initiatives, different kinds of promotions and things like that. And there are just so many other better ways to kind of capture both, right? You can maintain the continuity of your campaign attribution, and you can also track internal promotions and links using custom events, things like that. So
yeah, no, when you said that, the first thing that came to mind is how that can hinder advanced analysis, downstream if you're wanting to do some more advanced techniques, but your attribution data is not clean,
Yeah.
you're going to have
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing in our industry too, Damaris, is we see a lot of turnover in personnel and marketing organizations, whether that's in-house or at agencies. So anything an organization can do to create consistency across an organization is going to pay big dividends in terms of advanced analysis down the line. So when I say structured rich naming conventions, I mean you could basically, for your campaign parameter, you could make a combination of 5, 6, 7, 8 different attributes that are all delimited within one campaign name. That's great, but if let's say your paid search team goes through the exercise and creates a convention, but every other group within your company creates an absolutely different convention. All of that rich naming convention is a little bit out the window because it's not consistent at the point. So it requires a great deal of overhead and effort to normalize that data after the fact. Whereas if you kind of take that time to do some cross-team data consistency measures. So we're talking really just like people and processes at this point. And there are definitely tools that you can use to make this easier and facilitate it. But if people don't sort of comply with what everybody's agreed with, make sure you kind of check off all the check boxes before you launch the campaigns. All the kind of protocols in the world won't matter unless people actually, commit to the practices.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that because it kind of brings me back to the fact that, even as tools continue to evolve, we still have to really do the basics well, do them with discipline, and have the right processes in place. Thanks.
Absolutely. The fundamentals are as important as ever, maybe actually more important than ever. Because so many of the tool sets that we use today rely on data inputs.
So what else along the lines of data quality management?
Sure. So I think if we want to kind of summarize a kind of pyramid of what data quality management can support, we're talking about getting, right, we started with these, getting the coverage, the comprehensiveness correct. So ensuring that you're collecting the data you need to provide insights around how your marketing initiatives are supporting your business objectives and KPIs. Making sure that it's of sufficient accuracy and coverage to allow you to make reliable business decisions. So again, it's never going to be perfect, but you want to strive towards some benchmark, and you do want to actually take the time to audit these things and make sure that that you do have a reasonable sense of where you stand in terms of these things. So, and because you want to be able to make reliable business decisions related to your digital marketing. And then, you want to make sure you're collecting sufficient data. So kinds of data, metadata about content, about users, about campaign targeting, right? Like so that you can accurately segment those customers and prospects for more refined marketing. So that ultimately, DQM, you're trying to kind of move up this pyramid of having comprehensive, accurate data so that you can derive insights and ultimately activation, right? Use that data to drive better marketing performance.
Yeah, and as you're talking about this, it just makes me think about kind of the breadth of knowledge that digital marketers on the ground need to have now. We've talked about audits, campaign tagging. So we're talking about processes, techniques. We didn't even really talk about just writing ads and the whole kind of foundation of being a marketer. But it's a major cognitive load. And for me in training and education, I'm always thinking about that. And I'm thinking about learning and how it's a big part of the job now as a marketer. We're looking at some resources, here at eNor, we're always developing different resources to share with our clients, and we'll make some of these available for our guests today at the end of the webinar. What's your approach to learning, Patrick, and how do you stay current, even just on all of the platforms, for example?
Sure. I mean, I think you have to take a bit of a lifetime kind of a student approach here. This landscape is changing constantly. So you have to enjoy doing research. You have to enjoy kind of keeping up on industry news when it comes out. Actually, take a look at new features, changes in ad formats, targeting. See what the levers are. See what the latest and greatest is. You don't always have to get seduced by a shiny object, because there are plenty of those in our space as well. But you do want to know about those shiny objects, and you want to take the time to assess them, and then I mean, geez, even on the big platforms, your Google Ads, like things change all the time in terms of what kind of new ad formats, what kind of audiences, what other data sources can you integrate. So I mean, you really do have to take kind of a bit of a lifetime learning type of an approach. Be passionate about it. I try to take on kind of leadership opportunities if I can around like internal company initiatives around media certifications. Just trying to be a subject matter expert, and just to stay current as much as possible.
We have a quick question actually before we move on from this point. Are there any tools out there that you'd recommend for DQM, for data quality management?
It depends on, I guess, where you're trying to focus. In some ways, I think just good old-fashioned audits are really good ways to get at the quality of, say, for example, your campaign tagging and things like that. I think leveraging your reporting and data teams to pull subsets of data that are missing key components, for example, or checking for consistency, things like that. There are, in a much larger sense, there are data management platforms such as Talend, who we work with, but that's more managing and normalizing kind of multi-source big data environments, things like that. So and in that sense, I definitely recommend people leverage those kinds of tools as well. But I think kind of just like good old-fashioned audits, kind of in some ways, I favor marketers being really close to their campaigns and their data. So and analysts. So I guess that would be my starting point. And then the more advanced tools, certainly if you have these massive big data environments, definitely using a data management type platform is advisable.
Yeah, and it makes sense, sticking with the topic today, just the need to have integration, to make sure that the tool sets you're using, always kind of evaluating that integration piece, like how do they fit together?
Definitely. So let's talk about integrated tool sets for a minute and what they allow you to do, right? So integrated tool sets allow you to create advanced audiences, for example, in a platform like Google Analytics 360, publish those directly to your DMP, right? So you can publish audiences directly to DMV 360, for example, or to Google Ads for highly refined remarketing campaigns. You can bring conversion data from your CRM into your web analytics platform. So you can start to see things like, well, what campaigns are generating really sales ready leads or won opportunities, right? You're no longer stuck looking at that first kind of conversion point with a potential customer, right? Just a raw lead. You can actually start to see some of those offline sales-oriented kind of conversion steps from your CRM. You can use, your high-value customer data, generate lookalike audience in your DSP. Start refining your prospecting campaigns to not be quite so kind of broadcast or untargeted. Using known data about source campaign, past user behavior, search keywords, and fuel personalized user experiences on key landing pages and other web content, right? So integrated tools that kind of touch all aspects of user experience, from potentially advertising, messaging and targeting, to how you deliver user experiences to those same users once they arrive on your other assets.
So Patrick, looking at the first example here, creating advanced audiences in GA and publishing them to D and V360 or Google Ads, this concept of like, okay, I have an audience in Google Analytics for someone who was on my site, maybe they viewed some content, added something to the cart, didn't purchase, and I can now take all of those behaviors, create an audience, push that out to my marketing tools for display, and retarget them. Having the native integration, this is relatively new.
So some of this has, some features, like you've been able to publish audiences from 360 to Google Ads for a while, and then they've layered in the additional, abilities, with the former DoubleClick stack, the GMP stack, the ability to publish to display and video 360 is more recent, but and just the the overall ability to do more and more advanced audience segmentation. These have all kind of gotten more and more refined over time. With the unveiling of Google Signals, we have better user level resolution using the Google Graph. So you can get better kind of user level targets, with more confidence that you're accounting for cross-device, cross-browser experiences as well. So, I would say it's been a kind of an iterative approach by the big players to allow, more and more sophisticated ways of doing these things.
More nuance, more targeting capability, more native, and it seems like it's, escalating.
Yes, for sure. And things, just even new features, being able to bring, say, Salesforce offline conversions into GA360, so that you would have, let's say, qualified leads, sales-ready leads as your conversion metric. You could actually start using those offline events as targeting criteria as well, right? So, just I would say the ways that we can use the integrations, as well as the number of integrations, have both gotten more sophisticated in the last 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what does a unified ad tech ecosystem look like? Let's look. We're a strong Google partner, so let's look at the Google Marketing Platform for a minute. That's a kind of a visual sense, right? So we have the Google Analytics 360 platform, so advanced measurement, optimized 360, measurement and testing, and personalization, display and video 360, and campaign manager. So you have your DSP and your ad server stack here, and your floodlight configuration environment. Search ads 360, right? Search ads 360. So again, layering in your search management platform. Tag manager 360, your tag manager. Data studio, really doing advanced dashboarding, and with lots of the number of native data hooks for Data Studio has grown immensely over the past few years. So you have hooks directly into Campaign Manager data, Displaying Video 360 data, Search Ads 360 data, analytics data, right? So you can pull in directly into Google Cloud too, so in BigQuery. So Studio, so the for your creative management, and Surveys 360, market research, voice of consumer type of research. So all of these tools are meant to play together, and they were mostly at one time all to one degree or another more siloed type tools.
Yeah.
And in the last several years, they've all been brought in under the Google Marketing Platform umbrella, and that's not just a branding phenomenon. These tools do integrate with one another. So Analytics 360, as we have already mentioned, you can directly publish audiences to DNV 360. You can pull your data from Campaign Manager directly into Analytics 360, directly from Search 360 into Analytics 360. You can use advanced audiences to drive A/B testing and personalization in the Optimize 360 tool.
Yeah, that's major.
You can push just even simple features like, from a management standpoint, you can push your floodlight tags from Campaign Manager directly into Tag Manager and have somebody review and then publish those. So make sure that you assign the right triggers, and so you don't, you can kind of also streamline some processes around that as well. You don't necessarily have to give an agency access to Tag Manager. But you can let them push the tags directly, and then you can, like I said, have somebody review those and publish them yourself. But you also don't have to take the time and effort to implement that tag. So,
in some ways, having so many options for what you can do kind of makes the case that you need to really understand strategy. Like, you really need to have a strategy and know what you're doing as a digital marketer.
That's a great point, and I appreciate the softball queuing me up there. And this brings us to the point.
Really, just looking at it, it's seeing all of the different options. I could spend time in any one of these platforms, but it really does. It brings it to life.
No, for sure. Yeah, I want to. Let's hammer that home for a minute, right? Tools and platforms, they are enabling technologies. As sophisticated as they can get, they can help you. They can't do your job for you, right? So data quality management, right, can lay a foundation for really effective and efficient marketing optimization. And an integrated AdTech stack, it's going to make it easier to activate your data, right? You can send audiences directly to this platform or that platform, right? You can do better targeting, personalization. You can run market research in Surveys 360 using audiences, right? So, but these media technologies, they're not going to write good ad copy for you. They can help you test variations. They're not going to develop great content for personalization options. It's not going to help you optimize campaigns with highly fragmented, low volume data sets. Think of like really large scale paid search campaigns, massive long tails, hundreds of thousands of keywords, maybe several million keywords that have very low impression and click volume at the keyword level, with lots of spend in aggregate. You have to, again, statistical analysis tools will be really helpful for this kind of campaign situation, but you have to know how to analyze and look at that data to get what you need out of it. So it's really important. Again, you need to kind of broaden your perspective, I think, as well, right? Again, Search Ads 360, right? It can leverage Google Analytics behavioral data for reporting and insights. You can apply multi-touch attribution models. Search Ads 360 is great at optimizing really high volume campaigns to, for example, a $35 cost per acquisition. using a variety of campaign performance signals, right? But the tools can't really tell you something like the 3-year lifetime value of your paid search channel customers is $3,500 with a gross profit of $1,200. Why are you only willing to spend $35 to acquire them? Right? The tool can't tell you that if you get that paid search customer to make a repeat purchase in the first 30 days, that customer is 50% less likely to churn and 75% more likely to be a high value customer, right? So what broaden your perspective. So don't only think like a digital marketer, think like a marketer. In fact, maybe even think like a catalog marketer. They have been relentlessly expert, for decades at really sophisticated analysis of their customer files. And sometimes in the digital space, we don't do, we don't take advantage of some of our best data sources. And one of the best data sources is your actual on-prem customer file, which has really granular information about your customers and their purchase behaviors. And if you apply the right kind of analysis to it, you can start to understand the full value of your customers. You can start to segment them according to different value tiers, and you can understand how getting them to engage with you quickly after their initial purchase, how does that change their long-term value for your business? And these are things that these tools, again, they can enable analysis, but they are not going to give you the use cases that really only that perspective, that kind of experience and expertise can bring to the table.
Yeah, that's a great point about the customer files. That's, using your data to really come up with a data-driven strategy.
Yeah. And so, that's really, you had asked a question about sort of, is anything setting companies apart, I guess, from the competition? And it's really the companies that can operationalize the opportunities that these tools are making possible. So it's the companies. So the best competitive advantage you can have is to have the most innovative and creative use cases that these tool sets enable. Mm-hmm. And that's really hard. The tools can't really define those use cases for you very well. By knowing your business extremely well, by knowing your overall market extremely well, and by really understanding your objectives, you can kind of bring your perspective and expertise to the table, and then these tools start to shine. So, right, again, tools won't make garbage into gold. So Google Ads has gotten increasingly sophisticated. Google Search Ads 360, right, allowing you to test many variations of ad headlines, ad descriptions, landing pages, different ad extensions, site links, different kinds of callouts. All of these things have gotten massively more sophisticated, but they're not going to turn lousy ad headline copy into good headline copy. They're not going to turn a suboptimal landing page into a high-performing landing page. Google Analytics 360 would be great at pointing out to you which landing pages you should turn your attention to. Optimize 360 would be a great tool for testing some variations of those high-traffic, low-performing landing pages. But you have to bring some insight into how are you going to take a suboptimal landing page and turn it into a delightful experience for your user. And then use the tool to help you test that and refine that. Mm-hmm. You have to understand your objectives, right? You have to maintain some foundational knowledge and perspective in a rapidly changing environment. So, again, there's lots of shiny objects. Some of them will prove out to be valuable tools, valuable channels. incremental additions to your multi-channel marketing program, and some of them won't. But you really do need to maintain clear objectives for all marketing initiatives. You need to understand the KPIs that most clearly signal success or failure for you. Leverage the best possible data to set those KPIs and targets, right? Again, think LTV from your customer file, right? The best data source is not always the easiest or the most most immediately comes to mind. You want to really tailor the data set to the purpose at hand. And as the Oracle of Delphi might say, the most powerful marketing tool is definitely the mind, and your mind that you bring to the table, your experience, your expertise. As one of our dear colleagues, he likes to say, is like we need to take the tools, the platforms, and the requirements, and we need to add brain to them.
I love that.
And the reason we need to add brain to this is because it really is, not to wax poetical here, but it is a crucial part of advanced digital marketing, and it is not likely to go away.
I love that because, there's all this talk about artificial intelligence, but at the end of the day, you still have humans that understand how to use tools, no matter how much they evolve.
That's right. That's right. Whether it's knowing the business and the relationships that are crucial for your business, whether it's knowing the objectives well, understanding the kind of network of your supply, from your supply chain to your distributors to your direct to consumer business, right? Those are things that these tools are not. They need your input to take those things into consideration. So it is going to continue to be a crucial component of the work we do, and some menial tasks will get replaced by the robots, but I think the more sophisticated aspects of our jobs are going to become more crucial than ever in setting us apart from the competition. Questions?
It looks like we've answered all of our questions in chat, I think. Is there anything else you want to cover before we start to wrap up?
No, I think I've shared all that I had to share today, Damaris. If you had any follow-up questions that came to mind, or if we want to tell people how they can reach us, if they wanted to, any of the resources that you mentioned or anything like that.
Sure. It looks like we're good on questions, and definitely we appreciate everyone joining us today. Thank you for joining us. Just so you know, you'll receive a link to the recording for this fireside chat in an email. And yes, if you want to learn more about anything that we talked about today, how to activate your data in an ad tech ecosystem, you could contact us in general at info@enor.com. You can also contact either one of us directly if you want any of the resources I shared earlier. You could contact me at damaris@enor.com. And you can always reach out to Patrick at e-nor.com. We're very friendly. We love to help those in the industry that are trying to make their way. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks very much. That was great.